Do you have strong leadership skills? Would you like to get paid to help others learn new things? Then a career in education and training cluster may interest you. Education and training workers guide and train people. As a teacher, you could influence young lives. You could also support the work of a classroom teacher as a counselor, librarian, or principal. You could coach sports activities or lead community classes. You could also work with adults. For example, you could lead training to employees in a business, or you could work as a university or college professor for undergraduate or graduate students. There are over 60 careers across 3 pathways in education and training. Those pathways include administration and administrative support, professional support services, teaching and training.
I graduated high school from Waltonville and then came to Rend Lake for 2 years and got my associate's degree. And then I transferred on to SIU Carbondale, where I received my bachelor's in elementary education. From that point, I was an educator. I taught first grade, fourth grade, and third grade. I say third grade out of order because I taught that grade for about 16 years. I eventually went back and got my master's degree in administration, and I was a building principal for about 7 years. And then at that time, I decided it was time for a change, and the Americorps director job became available at Rend Lake, and I applied for that. And that was in 2013, and I've been here since. And since I started at Rend Lake, I was the Americorps director, and then I was the director of community ed, and now I've been made the dean of community ed. I've always loved kids. I've always wanted to be the boss. And when you're a teacher, you're the ultimate boss. You know, you get to tell them what to do, and you get to control things, but I also love kids. And I used to always tell people that, you know, you don't teach science, you don't teach math, you teach children. And I have a love for kids and teaching and just education in general. For the most part, you would start your day about 7:30 or 8, and your students get there, and you are with them until the end of the school day. You're depending on what you teach, you know, and you wear more than one hat. So as a school teacher, where I was, you're sometimes the nurse, you're sometimes the counselor, you're sometimes the fill-in parent, you're sometimes the teacher. It just depends on the day. You have to have a definite love for children, though. Every day is different. Every day is different because in community ed, we go from toddlers to trucks. We have the early childhood program, which encompasses a certain group of students, and then we have our truck drivers that definitely encompasses a different type of student. And right in the middle, we've got culinary arts. And the part about my job I think I love the most is that no 2 days are exactly alike. No 2 parts of my day are exactly alike. I teach a class on campus as well, so sometimes I get the student interaction. With the early childhood, I do the advising, and then I help with the placements for their practicum, which is their observation. So I get to kind of join in with them during the process while they're trying to continue with their education. So my days are definitely everywhere. Still, even here at Rend Lake, my most favorite thing is to deal with the students, whether it be advising, whether it be helping a student that is so close to getting their degree, you know, to finish that degree. And, you know, they say, you know, the student success is our success. That truly resonates with me, because if we can help the students to be successful, that's just a wonderful feeling. It's kind of confusing because Rend Lake offers the associate in applied science for early childhood. So that is the pathway where you want to be a teacher in a child care facility and then possibly eventually be the director of that facility. We also here at Rend Lake offer an early childhood education program in which you would eventually teach in a public school. Okay, so they're completely different. One requires the teacher education license and the other one does not. So at Rend Lake, if you want to work in a child care facility and you actually want to be a teacher, you would need an associate's degree and 2 classes in early childhood. If you went on and got your complete associates in early childhood, then you could go on to a 4-year university and possibly be a director one day. So the more schooling you get, the further up in the facility that you can go. So students come to me for education, and I am quickly I determine whether they want to teach in the public school or not. And I actually am over the courses for education. but I don't necessarily advise for education because I don't advise for transfer students normally. But we have a very good education program here, and it's becoming more and more popular because we are needing teachers and we need good teachers. We have several articulation agreements, SIU Carbondale, SIU Edwardsville, and Eastern. And what we do is we have their program objectives and our program objectives, and there's some things that go together. So we know what's required of students at Eastern so they can get those out of the way. But anytime you come to a junior college, especially Rend Lake, if you get that associate's degree, you complete that associate's degree, you can transfer into that university as a junior, which means they're not going to pick and choose the classes, okay? You go in straight as a junior. Early childhood education, you have to love littles. You just have to, you can't be afraid of messes. It's constant entertainment. And I say entertainment, I don't mean that, because there's learning along with the entertainment, but you're on your toes all the time. You have got activities and you have to follow through with those activities, and there's time on task. And because they're littles, they have a tendency to move a little bit faster. And so you just kind of have to be on your toes. You've got to get a good night's sleep, possibly take some power naps before you go to work or during the day, and just to keep up with them. Back in the day when I graduated, we didn't have what is called dual credit. And dual credit is something that's offered to juniors and seniors in high school, and it allows them to get high school credit while getting credit through the college. So for instance, let's say you are a Mount Vernon High School student. If you are a junior or a senior, you can take math, you can take a college math class, and you can take a college English class. Those classes right there will count toward your Rend Lake classes. So then when you get to Rend Lake, you have fewer classes that you will complete or need to complete before you can move on to the four-year university to get your degree. I feel like it would be very difficult to become a teacher if you don't like kids. So if you don't generally like to babysit when you're young, if taking care of your brothers and sisters was not something you enjoyed doing, if you didn't play school when you were younger, maybe it's not for you. Go with your gut and go with the things that interest you and that are fun. Don't go about it for the money, because if you go into education, you will never ever be rich, I will tell you, at least not from money. A lot of the area high schools have what is known as a Head Start program or a pre-K program in their district. So if that's something you think you might be interested in, ask if you can go in and just observe one day. Talk to people, go out and ask questions. Call me at the college and say, I think I might be interested, what can I do? And I'll help you figure out a way.
Every day, it just kind of depends on what school they're in. Every single district is a little bit different. We are in 25 school districts all across Southern Illinois, so every single school has a different rhythm every day. Most Americorps members are going to go in, they're going to work with groups of kiddos one-on-one, in small groups, things like that, just to do some tutoring and mentoring with them. So a lot of it's homework help. A lot of them work on math because elementary age students seem to struggle in that a little bit more than other things. So they just work with them, math, reading, really anything the teacher needs assistance on when it comes to helping those students that just need a little bit extra one-on-one time with an adult. And that's what our Americorps members do. They work with those students every day. I would say 90% of my members are education majors. I do have a few social work majors. It's kind of a variety. However, the bulk of them are education. So if they are interested in Americorps, a lot of times it's their high school counselor that will let them know about me, and then they'll get with me. Their senior year, they'll apply. We'll go through that whole process. We have an interview process. It's either with me, by ourselves, or it's with the administration at whatever schools we have. It can be a bit of intimidating for a high school senior to walk into a room, with 5 or 6 different administrators across, from a few different schools, but it's a really great experience. They need to be a little bit more mature because, like I said, you're going to be put into a classroom with a teacher, and that teacher is going to expect you to be able to handle situations that, could be a little difficult. We're all across Southern Illinois in all different types of schools. So you have to have that level of maturity. You need to be a hard worker. You got to have initiative. That's a word we just did a whole training on the word initiative. Just being able to not have to have a lot of direction, being able to jump into a situation and know your role and be able to fulfill that without asking so many questions. And, just eager to learn and eager to grow and, reflect on your experiences and see what you can do better and how you can be better. And you just have to have a really big heart because, you're in a school, you're with these kiddos. Some days you're going to love them and some days it's going to be a little more challenging. So just somebody that is really excited about education and wants to make a difference in the lives of the students and their community. Be proactive. So if it's something that you thought about and, that's really something that I would like, get a hold of me here in the next couple years. Their teachers, they may know about Americorps. You'd be surprised, some of them may even be Americorps alums. So ask questions about it. And, if you can get a hold of me or whoever, wherever you end up at, if there's Americorps, possibilities there, if that's something you want to do, be proactive. So, get in touch with me, get in touch with somebody who knows, do the research about it. Be proactive and ask questions and don't be afraid to contact whoever you need to contact to get involved with it. So Americorps is national service. It's a federally funded grant program. So our members are given a living allowance each month. So it's about $7,500 over 10-month time. So that's allocated monthly for them. We have a nice big training in August, right before they start in the school. So we go over professional development, just how to act, how to be a professional in that professional setting. We go over tutoring strategies. We go over all kinds of different things to prepare them to be in those school districts. So once they get in, they get that living allowance each month. So that's really nice little stipend they get all the way through their service time. And as long as they do everything they're supposed to do, they get an education award at the end from the federal government as well. And that equals a little over $3,000. So in total, this college kid, their first year, maybe they're an education major, they're wanting to do Americorps, they're going to get $10,000 in living allowance and education award by serving that 10-11 month time frame. So they do 900 hours approximately. That's the minimum amount they're supposed to do. So it equals about 15 to 20 hours a week. I get the members in the summer before we have our training, and I'll kind of tweak their schedule. So that way I make sure they have plenty of time in the schools, because the schools typically run 8 to 3 o'clock in a normal school year. So we got to make sure they have enough time to get those 15 to 20 hours in a week. But that's what the Americorps members do here at Rend Lake College, and also the other areas we serve in as well. My degree actually is secondary ed social studies, so I should have been a social studies high school teacher, and things happen, and I ended up here in higher ed, and then got the opportunity to be Americorps director. So for me, it's really nice to have that education background, because I did go back and get my master's degree in education as well. So I have all of that background that I utilize when I'm talking to administrators, especially because it's easy for me to communicate, using those skills I gained in my undergrad and graduate school. My background in education is really helpful whenever I'm talking to administrators, or I'm talking to teachers, or I'm developing the assessment that, with our members that we use, because that's part of our program. Members are tutoring and mentoring, but they're also tracking the students that they're tutoring and mentoring. So they are working one-on-one with the teachers to see how the students grow from the beginning of their time with them until the end. So that's part of it. We collect all this data. So me having that education background has really been helpful and for all those reasons. And the members they're right out of high school, so that's right in my sweet spot anyway with my training. So it's been really helpful to have all of that background and knowledge when it comes to being the director of Americorps here at Rend Lake. My favorite part about being the director of Americorps here at Rend Lake is interacting with students on a day-to-day basis. So when I say students, I mean my Americorps members. It's really interesting to be able to get a lot of these members, students that are, fresh out of high school. And I'll have them 2 years. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to have them 3 or 4 years. You can do 4 years with Americorps. So it's really fun to see them grow and change and learn so much. And now I've been doing this for almost 5 years. I've got a lot of members that I started right after they graduated high school. Now they are currently working. I've got several that work in District 80. I've got members that are working as teachers all across Southern Illinois. So for me, that's my favorite part. Whenever I can, I'll get an email from one of them saying I actually, just got hired, and I write letters of recommendation, all these things. So that's really, I think, my favorite part is getting to see these kids from the, fresh out of high school, these big ideas, big dreams about being a teacher, and letting them work through that Americorps experience and learn all of this, and then get to actually be a teacher and have their own classroom. So that's been really, really rewarding for me. Google Americorps, and there will be so many things that pop up that you can see. I know our information's on the website here at Rend College. There's just a lot of different things you can look up, and there's some great videos out there. And Americorps is not only in the schools. They cover a wide range of things. I also have a few environmental members that work with wildlife refuges, different places like that. We have a group at Touch of Nature in Carbondale that do those type of things. We also have people that serve homeless shelters. They serve veterans. Americorps is such a broad way to serve, and way to serve your community and way to serve your country. So it's a really huge thing across the country. And so I would encourage anybody that's interested in Americorps, just Google it and check it out. There's so many opportunities everywhere in the United States you can go and be a part of something that's really, really cool and a great experience all around.
I have been employed at Project Child it'll be 24 years in October, so 23 and a half years. I started out at Rend College, got my associate's degree, and then I went on to McKendree and got my bachelor's degree in education. I wanted to teach in school districts, and I did teach for a year or so and decided that wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, because I also taught some classes at Rend and I enjoyed the teaching of adults. I really enjoyed that arena. And then when a position came open at the R&R at Project Child, I applied for it and got it. And so I had a little learning curve there, because I had to bump up my early childhood, because an education degree doesn't necessarily prepare you for early childhood. So I went back and got a master's degree in early childhood education. At Project Child, I am the Provider Services Coordinator and Quality Specialist. So every day, part of my job is to help providers find and take professional development opportunities. In the state of Illinois, the Department of Children and Family Services requires that anyone who works in a licensed facility or is licensed in their home has to take so many continuing education hours or in-service hours or whatever you want to call them every year. So providers have to find those and be able to take those and then prove that they took them. And so part of my job is to provide opportunities for them to take professional development. So I do a lot of training for child care programs for teachers, family child care providers. I also help them find other opportunities to take that, whatever they're interested in, whatever they're looking for. Another big piece of my job is working with the Accelerate Illinois program through INCRA. So as a quality specialist, I work with programs to help them assess their programs using the environment rating scales. And then from those assessments, I help them write continuous quality improvement plans. We call them CQIPs. They write those so that they can work towards continuous improvements in their program. And then I continue to follow them so to see that they're making those improvements and how they're making those improvements. So when I say provider, typically I mean all of the providers. Child care centers, that's a child care provider. So whether you're talking about the director, assistant director, teachers in the classroom, teachers' aides. We also work very closely with family child care homes, and some family child care homes have staff. So all of them are providing quality care and education for children. So anyone who works with children birth to 5, and a lot of times birth to 8 even, is early childhood. And then my assessment is, there are scales. They're called the environment rating scales. They're books. And the providers, the programs take these books and they assess their program on individual items. So they say, okay, I am doing this, I'm not doing this, I am doing this, and they come up with a kind of general score of where they are, and they're always working to get to this higher level of quality. For example, the child care center here on campus is part of Accelerate, and they're a gold circle of quality, which is the highest circle of quality that a program can have in the state of Illinois. They're also accredited through the National Association for the Education of Young Children, which is a national accrediting body, which basically just says that the Children's Center provides quality to families and children that are way above the quality that just licensing has. There are several different types of jobs. For instance, my job requires a bachelor's degree. We have an infant toddler specialist, and that position requires a bachelor's degree and some experience working in a program, either in an infant room or working, in a child care center where you're working with infant teachers or something like that. We have a parent referral recruitment quality specialist, which also requires a bachelor's degree. And then we have our CCAP coordinator, which requires a bachelor's degree as well. She coordinates our Child Care Assistance Program, or CCAP program. The ladies who work in that program, they have an associate's degree or higher. We have many that have bachelor's degrees, but they have to have at least an associate's degree. And what they do is process paperwork for families. Families apply to the program to receive help paying for child care. Most of the positions, not the CCAP positions, but the positions, other positions in the office, we're all trainers, so we train on a routine basis. So public speaking is very important. And, I would say to a youngster, it's okay if you don't feel that way now, but work on your skills as you get older. Because when I was in high school, I was scared to death to speak in front of people. And now I could tell you, I could get up in front of a group of 100 and talk about tying my tennis shoe for 30 minutes. It's not a big deal. So, it's okay if you're not, but you still think you want to do this, because you can hone those skills and you can get there. There's always ways you can learn to do things. A quality specialist, we have received numerous trainings on coaching. So we go into programs and coach teachers on, how to increase the quality of the care that they're giving, to do their interactions a little bit differently, or whatever it might be. And so along with that comes some of that communication, making those I statements, or, I wonder what might happen if you did this differently, or, how to talk to them. Because you can't go into a classroom and just tell a teacher that what she's doing is wrong and ask her to do something different. You have to, you have to take a positive, strength-based approach in order to build those relationships with teachers. Well, we're coming from the outside of most child care programs, well, all child care programs, because we work in this office and they live it every day. So in order to go in and help a program or to help a teacher, we have to really listen to where they are and listen to what their concerns are. We can't go in with an agenda of, well, we're going to help you do this, this, and this. It doesn't work that way. We have to really listen to what their goals are and what they want to work on before we can ever start to, try to come up with any goals to move the program forward. DCFS has, lots of information about the R&R. We do interns occasionally, so if someone wanted to come and spend some hours in our office just to see what kind of the other side of early care and education is, that's always welcome. There's lots of resources for people going into the field of early care and education, but not so much into the R&Rs. So, but always call us, just call us. And we're out there, so call us if you have questions, or if you want, you think you want to do something. I have often heard it said that, we ask our students to go through high school and they have to ask to go to the bathroom or to do whatever, and then they get out of high school and all of a sudden we're saying, okay, now decide what you want to do for the rest of your life. And that's a huge decision. And I just went through that with my two girls because, they graduated high school and we were like, okay, what are you going to do the rest of your life? Figure it out right now. Both of them changed their mind through their years of college. So, don't be discouraged if what you think you want to do is not what you want to do a few years from now. I thought I wanted to go into education and work in the public school system, and that's not what I wanted to do. I figured it out. So even if you go into college and you think this is exactly what I want to do, and you get that bachelor's degree and that's not what you want to do, it's okay to change course. Our infant toddler specialist started school to be an IT person, to work with computers. So she's kind of our go-to for computers sometimes when we need, something small, but she's the best infant toddler specialist we could have. So, it's okay if your path changes and if you don't really know where you want to go, but get that degree so that you can, do something.
If you are interested in a career in education and training, Rend College is here to help you develop the knowledge and skills needed. RLC has career technical education programs such as Early Childhood Education Associate in Applied Science degree, Early Childhood Education Certificate, Early Childhood Assistant Certificate, Early Childhood Certificate Level 2, Early Childhood Certificate Level 3, Technical Assistant Certificate, or transfer degree programs such as Elementary Education Associate of Arts degree, Secondary Education Associate of Arts or Associate of Science degree, Biological Sciences Associate of Science degree, English Associate of Arts degree, History Associate of Arts degree, Mathematics Associate of Arts degree, or Social Worker Associate of Arts degree.